Omar F Okai and Solange Urdang are the co-founders and directors of the Black British Theatre Awards that had its first ceremony in October 2019. This year it's being produced by Kwame Kwei-Armah at the Young Vic in 3 spaces that are very socially distanced and COVID safe. It will be screened by Sky Arts on the 25th of October. Omar has joined us at the CDG to celebrate Black British artists in the theatre, television and film industry during Black History Month. How much of an achievement is the Black British Theatre Awards for both theatre, black actors and creatives?
So, the BBTAs, how we first started, there was no kind of platform at all for British black creatives and actors of any kind, not really. We have the Olivier Awards and What's on Stage Awards, and yes, they do honour a fraction of our community in the theatre. But so we thought, we're going to do a challenge here. There was a tweet went out from a certain, I'll say, agent. I won't say the name because that'd be libel, but it's the truth. And this tweet went out and the tweet said, I'm not going to quote completely, but it said, is anybody else kind of perturbed, I'll use the word perturbed, about the casting call out for black or BAME, as the word is used sometimes, which I don't like, BAME acting musicians. Do you not find that this takes away jobs from good white performers? And then it went to say, well, only they usually call black people in for shows and plays because of their va-va-voom, which I have a lot of va-va-voom myself, but I am actually talented, and so are my peers, very, very talented. So we had this discussion on Facebook. And then Solange Urdang, CEO of the Urdang Academy, she said, well, Omar, is there no kind of MOBOs for British theatre? And I said, no. She goes, are you sure? I said, yeah, go and research. She did. We got back together. We thought, right, we're going to do this challenge now, this amazing challenge. And we thought, let's do a Black British Theatre Awards. Do we put British first or the black word, or what do we do? Anyway, Black British Theatre Awards. So let's do a launch at the Century Club, Shaftesbury Avenue. We thought there'd be 30 people who turn up, you know, we're going to try our best. We had a team, and actually the team I work with Solange, they're all female, which is brilliant. I can tell you why later on, it's just brilliant. Men have too much testosterone and they're very boring at times. But anyway, so literally, we had this amazing launch. The launch was so packed, people were queuing up to try and get in, who actually couldn't get an invite at all or a ticket. Suddenly, after the launch, this platform, this kind of bridge in theatre, just grew and grew. And before we knew it, we were literally standing in the Finsbury Town Hall, home of the Urdang, literally standing there, thinking, how did we get to this? It was the most beautiful room, and if you've ever seen that hall, it's so fantastic, with a beautiful high tea, and there was every single glitterati and every single person that we admire that should be recognised from years before, in that room all at once. It was amazing. And then suddenly the awards were on. And then you could see that was why we had to have that platform. That is why we had to literally create this platform. These people, we were there, whether they were nominated or not, whether they won or not. That wasn't the point. It was just knowing there was something happening historically happening in Great Britain, which I think is going to help theatre right across the board, particularly educational. Education is where it's going to be key.
How important a step are public nominations for driving forward genuine inclusivity in the industry?
Nominations, we call them nominations, are the most important thing for any award ceremony, but the nominations have to come from your peers. If it's just a group of people in a room somewhere deciding your fate or who is the best, to me, that isn't a true representation of anything. That means there's people who are not getting their foot in the door. So we have this nomination where literally the public will nominate people. We stay in the background. Of course, the nominations come in, Sometimes the person isn't of colour or we thought they weren't. There's lots of factors. It wasn't a SALT theatre or a SALT affiliate theatre. But one thing it shows that the public, whatever colour they are behind you as a creative, as a casting director, as a choreographer, as a dancer, a singer, makeup, design, set design, MD, there's lots, light and sound. It means the public are aware of you. It doesn't mean there's somebody in a room with 6 people suddenly just sort of deciding who gets what. How can you do that? How does that work out? That makes no sense. That's like somebody saying, well, I'm gonna decide on your fate, but you can't even see me. And there's 7 of us or 10 of us or whatever, and that's how it's done. But when the public nominate for you, you know that it's a real thing. We jumped from, I think last year, maybe 2,000 nominations to this year, nearly 5,000 nominations. Literally, which means people are, and I don't mean just black people nominating, everybody is nominating. Everyone's nominating. That makes it a really even playing field. Now, if there's a tie, it goes to judges. The judges are not in the same room. It goes to your email and you have their work sent to you and then you decide separately. And so literally it's beautiful to say, look, I'm being recognized for my work. Even if you're just nominated, it doesn't mean you haven't won. If you've nominated, it means you're there. You're in the same line as your peers. That's the most beautiful thing you can ever, I think, you can think about. And that's one of the things that Solange, Urdang and I literally are very hot on, the fairness of it. Have the people say, oh, why don't you just put up who we should vote for? I said, that means that's just us as a team deciding who we want you to vote for. That doesn't make any sense. I could say, well, I would like so-and-so to be voted for. Who's so-and-so to you? Doesn't matter. You decide. And it's hard. People say, oh, I can't. Do your research. This year was hard because of COVID, but it was possible. What it does do at the same time, I'll tell you one thing it does do, on the positive side and the negative side. And the negative, it's a positive. Because when you can't find enough people to keep that category going, it's happened this year as well, you have to take the category out. People say, well, why have you done that for? I say, but doesn't this highlight? This highlights what's happening within SALT theatres and SALT affiliate theatres, and also is happening around Great Britain. It's highlighting that black people, creatives, are not being allowed to put their foot in the door to work on these shows on that upper end of theatre. So it highlights it.
This year, CDG member Isabella Odofin will receive the Casting Director Recognition Award. What does this award stand for?
There is an amazing new, and I say amazing, I think it's amazing, new award. I've not really seen the award in any of the major award kind of categories before. Maybe I haven't, I've missed it, then there's a problem. But we have this a new award for casting directors. Let me tell you this, casting directors, whether it's for film, television, whatever, commercials, plays, musicals, they're usually the first port of call to your agent. So there are a few, I don't really know hardly any black casting directors. I'm now getting to know them and I'm 55 and that's quite sad. We have a few what I'd call casting director allies within the West End. One is Jill Green, she's a casting director ally, she's not black, but she's a casting director ally. Now we have some new, what I call up and coming black casting directors. This means that we are now allowed, not allowed, that's the wrong word, we can now hopefully get our foot in the door. Because the casting director is the person that lets you get your foot in the door, your picture on the table, your CV on the table, your show reel on the table, your voice reel on that table. But if you're not going to get put on that table, you're never going to be seen. For those upper echelon shows, you're never going to be seen. And if you are going to be seen, you're going to be seen as the black person in the show. You know, this is the role you're playing the black person in the show. You're not going to be in the show because you're British. You're going to be, this is the colour you're going to be playing. So you have literally these casting people that hold this kind of power behind them. And I want to see, Solange and I, Urdang, and the whole team want to see this change. And it will literally can change the face of theatre for good. Not just a few people in a show. Not just saying it's Hamilton, or it's Kinky Boots, or it's Dreamgirls. It can be really mixed for the real reason, you know? And that's why casting directors, this award, you've got to honour them, black casting directors. We've got to get them to be seen now and to be used. And also, if you're going to tell our stories, or not our stories, why can't black people be part of that, the casting of those stories? And not just black shows, any show. Any show. If you're white and you're casting a black show, that happens. Why can't it be equal measures? The casting person is the one that gets your foot in the door, the very first foot in the door. Then the second port of call is going to be your director or your choreographer, and that's how it goes. When I was up for a show years ago, and I'll say this, it was Grease, the very poor pink one we see now, that one. And fabulous woman called Arlene Phillips. I'm going to let you know this. Arlene Phillips, a great advocate for black performers. You know, she was on the Kenny Everett show of her dancers, Hot Gossip. She integrated stuff like Silent Express with Lloyd Webber. Now, I was up for Kaniki. Somehow she got them to let me be seen for Kaniki, the very first Kaniki. I got all the way down to it, and I got a message from my agent. Called me then on the telephone, not mobile, the telephone, and said, Omar, they don't want anybody black in the show. Those were the actual words, not wrong casting, in the show. There was no reason why, but at least that person who was casting that show, to me, in my eyes, and Arlene Phillips, fought to get me through into that show. My first ever job in London, after I came out from doing cruise ships in Malaysia and stuff, was for Pirates of Penzance. That is usually a white show. And Jack Gunn, he's a director and choreographer, he was casting it as well. And he was in the room with the producer. And I remember that there was a long hallway of actors all lining up, and lots of girls in the 80s, lovely pretty dresses, that sort of floral dresses you wore, not the boys, the girls. And then I just walked down the middle of this whole hallway, and when the door opened, I just walked in, which is rude, but I did. And I walked in and I sang something completely inappropriate. I think it was Sweeney Todd, Taylor Sweeney Todd, I think I sang. And then I discovered later that Jack Gunn actually fought for me to be in this show as a pirate. And then he told me, he said, well, if I can't cast Omar as a pirate, I don't want to direct or choreograph this show. So when I see people, black casting people coming up, we have to start giving these awards out to casting people. And I think any award ceremony should honor their casting people. They're in the background doing all this work and they just get nothing in the end. You don't even know who cast the people. You can't, if you do the wrong casting, your director cannot direct the show what they want if that casting is wrong. So I say that casting award for BBTAs is one of the most innovative, new and beautiful awards, and very much needed.
What was the thought process behind adding in such a diverse array of awards? Can you expand on the ones you've chosen?
In most award ceremonies, I'm not going to say which ones, you do have awards for certain categories. If it's an award ceremony for that sort of category, like say it's an LGBTQ champion award ceremony or disability award ceremony, or your innovation ceremony, technical innovation ceremony, or casting director's award. But we want to integrate that into theatre where it should be. So let's take the LGBTQ award. I, as a black male director choreographer, I find that has to be paramount in an industry which is fairly gay. Let's be honest with you, gay and lesbian and trans and bi and all in between, everything, it's there, and we don't really honour those people that champion it. And I'll tell you where this came from last year. A fabulous actor called Leighton Williams, he won Best Actor in the Musical for a show called Jamie. Long title, but I call it Jamie, shorten it down. And he said, who'd have thought, young, gay, camp, black, young boy from Manchester would be here snatching trophies, he said. In other words, snatching trophies. And I thought, you know what, he's right. It was so nice to see him in that room full of all his peers and say, I am a gay black man in theatre and I'm absolutely proud. So he said, this has got to go in as an award. It has to. These are movers and shakers, these people, and a lot of gay people in the theatre have gone through a lot of, I would say, crap and mess sometimes behind the scenes. Then the other award is disability. Why should we not have a disability champion within theatre? Grey eye theatre is amazing things. And disability is not literally, you can't always see disability. And there's a lot of mental health issues within our theatre. People overcome that to become amazing actors. Some people have physical disabilities and they overcome that to become amazing performers or creatives. And that's never honoured. And it should be honoured because that person who has a disability or maybe possibly is a different sexuality, they're saying, look, I'm doing it. Don't let this stop you from your career. That's just an excuse. And one we thought this year would be amazing because of COVID, let's be honest with you, this Technology and Innovation Award, it just makes complete sense. Now, COVID or not COVID, let's be honest, how many people make these beautiful musicals now on I'm saying TikTok and all these really small little films or online films, musicals and plays and monologues, and they use, or even in theatre shows, they use the most amazing technology now. Why are we not awarding this and bringing focus to it? I don't understand why, but we are. The BBTAs are. And I think other award ceremonies should follow suit. Don't presume that people know. Let's have it. Open the doors for everybody in theatre. Everybody.
Shirley Thompson, OBE, will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. Why did she stand out?
Okay, now the Lifetime Achievement Award is something we started last year in our first award, obviously, and this year we chose. In fact, we didn't choose. It's really fun to say this. It's the peers that choose, and Shirley's name was in that mix all the time. Shirley Thompson, OBE. I met Shirley 23 years ago. I directed her first opera piece called Child of the Jago, and we had not much money, and it was her money. We got the opera singers together, and she's very classical based, but she can also branch out into using hip hop and soul and funk. She is amazing. So we had no money, and the Urdang school at the time gave us free space on the weekends to rehearse. Cameron McIntosh gave us use of his Les Mis costumes from his workshop, and that's how we did it. We had nothing, and we were at the now what was it called? Not Royal Queen Elizabeth Hall, Royal Festival Hall. One of those times. It's 23 years ago, and that's when I first met Shirley, and she was so inspiring, and she speaks very posh. She's going to kill me now I said that, but she does, and I remember sort of going, oh my gosh, she speaks so beautifully. I thought I've got to work with her, so we did. 23 years later, this lady has worked all over the world. I mean, she's got her movement pieces, her classical pieces, her Windrush piece she did was huge, beautiful, and she's a British black composer. And people around know who she is. Her peers know who she is. She was on a TV documentary not long, actually, a few weeks back, and they nominated her. It's a special nomination. It means that people really from the heart want to honour you for what you've done, not just for one piece, but for your whole body of work in your lifetime. And she's still very young. I think she's about maybe in her 50s or something. I don't know, she'll probably kill me, but I don't know. She's young. She's lovely. Do you mean? So she's in New York at the moment, working very hard, and she won't be able to attend Black British Theatre Awards, but she will be there in spirit, and we'll be honouring her with a fabulous award. This is what the BBTA is about. It's given a legacy. Shirley is right now every day writing part of her legacy. Now, I'm not going to say to leave because she's with us still, so I'm not going to say that because she's very much alive and very much kicking and very much working her guts off for us. And along with that, it then makes people look at other Black classical composers, and you start going right back down the line to 1700s, 1800s. You start doing your homework because of people like Shirley Thompson. You think, well, who else has done this? Who else is doing this? Who is Black? And you sort of think, oh my gosh, 200 years or more. I mean, the first Black kind of classical musician was actually a man who played the trumpet for Henry VIII. Henry VIII. He played I think he got paid 8p a day or something. Now you can buy a sock with that, but there's a lot of money. But that's how far back it goes. And only because I was doing my research, I know about Shirley, doing more research on her, I began going back and back and back. And I think, oh my gosh, this thing goes back and back. And Florence Mills and everyone from America to Great Britain. It's amazing. That's why Shirley has that Lifetime Achievement Award. And there'll be many more like her, I hope. I really do.
How vital is it that theatre can reflect and vocalise these times, given the huge focus on the Black Lives Matter movement?
Okay, there's a way for theatre to... The Black Lives Matter movement, to me, is not a brand new movement. It's a pivotal movement, it's very important, but it's not new. I was born 1965, and so I remember when I was 4, 5, 6, I remember seeing all this stuff on television, and my parents and my mum and my family discussing it. Black Lives Matter has been there for many, 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 many decades, and it's a constant fight, but it's been a different fight. And it's not just because of George Floyd, and no disrespect to him at all, but it's a much deeper rooted thing. And I think because of that, because of this whole thing of this and the COVID, has made people sit and think like a pressure cooker of a sadness and ill treatment comes out. It has to reflect in the theatre. It has to, because whenever you see a play, a musical, it can be fun or not, even Hairspray, there's a message. Theatre is the one thing I've always said that can reflect what's going on. Whether it's reflected in a funny way, ironic way, a serious way, it reflects what's going on.
What more can be done to increase engagement and discussions around Black History Month so it extends beyond a single month celebration?
Right, so I have a bit of a problem with the term Black History Month. I was born in the month of June, and I kept growing after the month of June 1965. I kept growing. So having a Black History Month doesn't, listen, it's important, I think it's great, it shines a light on it, but I don't get into a box after Black History Month. I'm still going to be there, you're still going to be there, my mother's still going to be there, my family, my friends' families, we're all going to still be there around the whole world. It's not a Black History Month. It's Black history, and it's history. We have Black History Month because people try to erase many things from history, down to simple things like people inventing the very first kind of traffic lights. Simple things are just simply erased. So it's not Black, what's the word can I say? It's not Black History Month. It's Black History always. So if you have Black History always, and then you have history always, we shouldn't need Black History Month. We are part of history. You don't need a slot to say, look, that's your slot, that's your month, and that's when we're going to honour you, and then after that we're going to go back to being exactly the same. I don't like that. It's like I don't know the word BAME. I'm not a person in a bucket, then there's other. So there's people here, and then I'm in a bucket, and that's BAME. So Black History Month is fantastic. It's a great thing to teach young people. But as far as theatre goes, theatre's got to go way beyond Black History Month. The world has to go way beyond Black History Month. You mean, because you don't go to Africa or a black country and say, whoa, this is Black History Month. That's like, what does that mean? We are history. We are history, and we're black, and we're British, and we're part of Black British history, and we're part of British history, and we always will be.
Anything else you wish to tell us about the Black British Theatre Awards?
The reason we're doing the Black British Theatre Awards is a positive thing for everybody. Everybody of every colour, of every single creed. And I was talking to some students the other day online from Arts Educational School who are really working towards that. It's like having that kind of school bully you have, or the person in where you live or work, or that is the one that makes somebody into the whipping post, the one they always bully, you know. Don't be a bullying person. Don't be that sort of person who will exclude people. Include everybody. The Black British Theatre Awards is trying to show you the way how to include everybody. It's going to enhance your life. In theatre particularly, it's going to enhance your life. It will enhance theatre. And literally, I would say it starts from education, which is what Solange Urdang has always taught me something, because she's CEO of the Urdang Academy. It always starts from education. Whether it's within the schools, or the theatres, or at home, it always starts from education. And that's what the Black British Theatre Awards is trying, is doing, is educating.
Who are the individuals behind the success of the Black British Theatre Awards?
I think when people see these kind of ceremonies put together, that, you know, they think it's the people who at the very top who just run the whole thing and organise it and design it and keep it going. It isn't. It's not just Solange Urdang and I. We have a fantastic team of ladies, women who are fantastic. And I'm going to say their names out, right? I've got them written down because I forget names terribly, so I'm going to be honest with you. We have Karen, we have Karina, we have Akosua, we have Talia, Vanessa, and Ashleigh. And of course, Solange is part of the team as well with me. These people keep this whole thing running. And it can be a nightmare, and it can be really scary, and it can be fun, and we argue, but we get it done. I want to say one more thing before I finish. At the moment, because of COVID, our industry is being literally decimated. It's almost on its knees, almost dead. And I think this is a time where all of us, I don't really care what colour you are, I don't care where you come from, Britain and around the world, this is a time where we have to get together. I don't think our government is doing the right thing by us, but we have to stick together and fight this through. So whatever award you're doing, to tell the truth, let's please work together and keep it going. Thank you.